Hi, everybody. This is Dawn Mitchell, and welcome to Dawn of Sports. This week, we're going to have fun. Do you have a bucket list item or event that you want to go to, and it's just been sitting there? Well, this might be the podcast for you to finally check them off. This year, I've done 2. And it's so exciting. And if there's a way to do it, you can get it done. Today, we're talking about the Field of Dreams. Our guest is Tracy Perlman. Tracy is the bigwig. I'll let her talk more about her job too, but I call it the Grand Poobah of the Grand Casino Arena when it comes to all things marketing. Also, former executive producer, WCCO. So she was helping me produce up all my stuff. But coming up, we're going to talk about how it was to go there when the Twins played, and let me just tell you, it was sensational.
We'll hear more about that from Tracy here in a second. This is Dawn of Sports. She's Dawn Mitchell from Fox 9. Of course, we are coming to you from the Aquarius Home Services Studio. Best way to listen to this show or any of our many great shows at TalkNorth.com. Please subscribe to your favorite podcast app. We would appreciate it. Also want to thank the Minnesota Twins and Citizens Independent Bank. Back to Dawn.
All right. Well, thank you so much. So we welcome in Tracy Perlman, who is one of my dear friends. We did a Thelma and Louise without the tragic ending road trip to Iowa for the Field of Dreams. And I don't know, Jim, if you have ever been. I had never been. No, you haven't? I thought for sure you would have gone. But, So just picture, if you will, then. 2 of us going down to Iowa on a road trip and then going through the corn. So Tracy, I'm just, first of all, I just want to thank you for coming along with me because it made it so much fun. I probably would have done it by myself and it would have been, okay. But it was so much fun to not only do that, and I don't know about you, but it exceeded my expectations, which is hard to do for a woman in sports. How about you?
100%. I was not thinking this is something I would ever do. I've talked about going down to the Field of Dreams, like with friends, but I've never been on a road trip that's gone anywhere near this part of Iowa. So I just kind of assumed, listen, I'll get to it someday. If I get to it, great. If I don't, fine. I read the book Shoeless Joe. I've obviously seen the movie Field of Dreams. And I love baseball. That is my favorite sport. And I love the Twins. So when you were like, would you want to go? I was like, yeah, all in. And like you said, I had high expectations because this is such a premier game for MLB. This exceeded my expectations also. And I think it's because of all the wonderful people that we met. And there were so many fun surprises that were genuine, that I know we will talk about. So I think that's what made this trip so special. I loved spending time in the car with you. I loved sharing all the stories. For us, I loved hearing other people's stories along the way when we were down there. It was a very fun trip.
Now, I want to back it up a little bit. I had an intern just a couple of months ago when we were talking about the Field of Dreams, and she was like, "What is that?" And I said, "Well, first it was a movie." She goes, "It was?" And I said, yeah, it was a movie with Kevin Costner. Who? So that conversation kind of made me feel A, old. B, I was like, wow, ever since I saw the movie and I found out it was a real place, I said, I never thought I'd be living in Minnesota anywhere close to it. I'd be like, wow, that is amazing. You know, you cried, you wept. I loved baseball. I was like, oh my God. And then when I moved here and they had it open, this was even before Major League Baseball played one game there. Like they just had it open. I'm like, oh my gosh, that's on my list with going to see the biggest ball of twine. I know I'm a nerd, but I have these like lists of things while I'm in I saw Mount Rushmore. I've been to Crazy Horse, you know. So I have these lists of things I want to do that you can drive to. So it's kind of always been on my list to go. But when the Twins were going to play, it was like, this is going to be a mission of mine to go. And like we were saying earlier, it's just so much more fun to go with someone, A, who loves baseball, It might not have been on your list like, yeah, I gotta go, but you have to love baseball. You have to understand it. And someone who also understood TV and what we were going down to do. So Tracy and I kind of, Jim, together were, she was on Jason DeRush's radio. I went on Vanita's. I went on the morning show. We were both on our all-day show on Fox. I think I was on like Fox Live, the network, and also Philly.
And Philly,
So
yeah.
yeah, so we were everywhere, Jim. And for me, I would say when we first got there, I thought it was going to rain. So I was just so thrilled that we weren't like parking in a cornfield 5 miles away and hitchhiking there, because everyone tells you the horror stories about that. So first of all, not only did we get there cleanly, they're like, oh, here's your parking pass. You can park right here. So we were
right
almost
here,
parking in the
row
corn.
3.
Row 3.
They literally cleared out the cornfield and put a parking lot similar to the state fair, where
Yes.
there's just open fields, and they're telling you where to line up and where to park your car and how far over to go. I mean, it was so well organized. There were signs on the highway that said, don't follow your GPS. If you have an MLB ticket, follow these signs. And they
Nice.
navigated you right in. And when the game was done, they navigated you right out. I mean, it was so smooth. So well done, Dyersville and MLB.
That's cool.
And and for those of you who have seen the movie, the house is the house. And then I was surprised about how close the ball field was to the actual house. But you can see the bleachers where they sat on and all the stuff. And then you realize, wow, that field looks really kind of small. But the corn stalks are there. And the first day, it was pristine. We couldn't walk. They had it roped off, so you couldn't walk on it. But when we could actually, the only way, Jim, to get from that, so where the movie set is, that's what they call it, the house, and then the field that they use in the movie, the only way to get to the bigger stadium is you have to walk through the corn stalks. So that's kind of like this amazing rite of passage. And to see people just disappearing in there was kind of cool. The first time the only thing Tracy told me that there's spiders in there and I'm allergic to spiders. So I, put that out of my brain, but I went through many, many times. It was great. How about you, Tracy?
It was unbelievable. First of all, once you get like 2 stalks in, you literally do just disappear. Like you cannot see the person in front of you. So not only do you show up as a fan to the field, you're seeing people playing catch. You're seeing all these people in jerseys and hats and T-shirts for all different teams, mostly Twins, a ton of Phillies. And then they've got the ghost players. So they're all these players wearing old-timey White Sox uniforms, and they're playing catch, and they're taking pictures, and they've got volunteers, and they're just letting people go wherever they want. So you can walk into the cornfield, right field, left field, center field. But then, like Dawn said, to go to the stadium to watch the actual game or to go get food, you had to walk through the corn, which was such a fun experience. I mean, we were laughing. People were videotaping themselves playing catch. They're going in and out of the corn to take videos. We were stopping to take pictures and videos for people because it was just so fun. I mean, the nicest Philly fans. And we kept joking, are you sure you're from Philadelphia?
And they said, we're not Eagles fans. We're baseball fans.
And they were so sweet and so lovely. And everyone just had this like look of awe and joy. And then, and you're only 10 feet into the experience, 20 minutes into it. It was so fun. I can't believe, and by the way, these aren't just corn stalks. There's like beautiful full ears of corn they're growing. And all that corn, I did ask, is feeding livestock, not for the people. Wow. But it looked so good. It was healthy, good corn. I mean, they're clearly not just keeping this up to make it look pretty. It was legit. It was just so cool to see. And then you walk through the corn and they've got cutouts of the players. There's like a dirt path that takes you around the outfield corn for the stadium back there. So there's cutouts of players. Dawn's favorite activation, there was a wine bar.
There was a
tucked away
wine bar in there,
corner.
Jim, just kind of tucked in there, like
Mhm.
Oasis. Ha ha!
We joke, if you
Yes.
pour it, they will come.
Yes.
And Dawn
Seems
was
like
there.
she was in corn match.
Yeah. The fun thing is that they were pumping the wine out of what looked like a condiment container, like a ketchup container, so they're like pumping the top, and then they would fill a little glass for you to try the wine. So that was really fun. Again, people were just having fun walking in and out of the corn, seeing people. And then you get to this big, beautiful stadium that MLB and the people who run this the field did, and it's a 4,000 seat stadium. They add another 4,000 seats worth of bleachers, and it was like incredible. They didn't overproduce it, so it wasn't too shiny, too futuristic, too modern, but it had really nice amenities. The bathrooms had great air conditioning. I thought the food was good. We did try for journalistic purposes the food.
Yeah.
The sight lines were unbelievable. I mean, it would be like watching an MLB game at CHS Field. You were right on top of the field, right on top of the players. It was awesome. I thought it was a great stadium.
And what Tracy and I accidentally, we did go into the media tent, mostly because it was super hot that first day. We wanted to put our stuff down. We wanted to get, some water, a couple of snacks. And we're in the middle of the Netflix production meeting. We're like, oh, okay. Because they're like talking about, so-and-so, this is when the anthem's playing. And then this is
at
what's
3
going.
o'clock, these guys are going to line up in the outfield. And then at, 3:04, we're going to start the rehearsal, and then the drone's going to go, and we're like, we're totally not supposed to be here right now.
We're not supposed to be hearing this, but this is really cool.
But we're not leaving. So we just sat there quietly on our phones, pretending like we didn't know that we were there.
That's how you get the entire scoop.
I love it. Well, I want to hear more about it because I have not been there, and I read this book, Shoeless Joe, when it first came out. I think W.P. Kinsella was the author, and I loved the book, and I read it and I thought this is gonna be a movie, and then it didn't become a movie for quite a while. So interesting. All right, let's take care of the business of the business. We are coming to you from the Aquarius Home Services studio, and the Minnesota Twins will be back from the West Coast soon. Go check them out at Target Field.
Here is where it all starts. Here's where pages are turned and new legends are written. Here's where kids become lifelong fans and lifelong fans become kids. Here's where sunsets last longer, happy hour tastes better, and summer hits its stride. And when all of Twins territory stands together and believes hard enough, well, there's no place like here. Get your tickets at twins.com.
Thanks also to Dan Bakken and Citizens Independent Bank. Women's sports don't grow because of one moment. They grow because people keep showing up. The fans, the athletes, the entrepreneurs, the local businesses investing in their communities and believing in what's possible. At Citizens Independent Bank, they believe that same local connection is what helps people reach their goals, with financial solutions built around relationships, not transactions. Citizens Independent Bank, unlock the power. Member FDIC, equal housing lender. And back to Dawn.
It's almost just fitting that the Twins are sponsoring this episode. The only thing we couldn't, Mim Davies, our general manager, said, Dawn, you're supposed to bring us back a victory. And that's the only thing about this entire experience that was the downer, was that the Twins lost 7-1. But with that said, the joy of hearing Byron Buxton and Derek Shelton talk about what it was like to go through the corn, even the alumni and Hall of Famers, Jim Thome and Joe Mauer. But Buck was saying, like, he was talking, and his brother was like, well, I want to go through the corn. I want to do that. So for these Major League Baseball players who have seen it all, Jim, been there, done it all. They're making the millions. For them to really enjoy it with their families, to have the game of catch beforehand, it boils it down to the love of the game. It took the players back. It took me back to when my dad, and I was telling Tracy this, my dad got me a glove. My brothers had Rawlings, and at first I was kind of bummed that I had a Wilson, but I ended up embracing it because I had a Wilson tennis racket, and I later named my dog Wilson. But I had a Wilson glove that he oiled it, put the ball in, wrapped it with twine, rolled the car over it. So when I was in right field and I caught the ball, it would pop. I was also in right field because I couldn't hit, but that was before I got contacts and LASIK. So that's in my own defense. But, and Ron Kittle, when I was in Chicago, gave me a little clinic. I'm like, oh, that's why I couldn't hit a ball when I played. I did play Little League baseball. There was a Little League baseball league for women, and I was on the Indians, and I couldn't hit. I mean, I could bunt or I could hit. And the only reason I even got on base is because I was fast, but I was in right field. And so, just throwing a ball with my dad and my four brothers, that for me brought me just back to the love of the game. And when I first scored a game, I learned in kindergarten. And Tracy, you were saying you learned to score the game. Like the conversations that we were having on this road trip, we're two women that never played Major League Baseball, obviously, but that loved the game in a different way. Like you were saying that, Tracy, right? Like you scored very early.
I had to learn to score a game if I was going to go to the Dome. We were not going to go up and down the seats to where we sat. And so my dad was a pitcher, and he, growing up, and so he would keep a scorecard. He still does. When he keeps a scorecard, will mark balls and strikes. I'm not quite that, nitpicky on it, but I will mark where they hit the ball, what happened, and do all that. I've spent a day, with the MLB scorekeepers at Target Field, and that was so much fun. I learned a ton. There's no right or wrong way to keep a scorecard.
No, it's all your own. As long as you can read it.
Yep.
Yeah.
And so I love that. I love teaching my friends' kids how to keep a scorecard. I love it. It taught me the game. But I think what makes the game so special is it hasn't changed that much. You can watch a game from the 70s. You can watch a game from the 40s if you can find the film. And it's still entertaining because it hasn't changed as much as like basketball or football has, right? And same with like golf and tennis. I think it's why generationally that game is so popular. But Dawn, when I think back to when we were hearing from Shelty and Buxton and Ryan Jeffers, I loved when they watched the movie because some of the players hadn't seen it or hadn't seen it in a while. They talked about, the relationships and what this movie brought out with when he talked about the marriage and the relationship that the husband and wife had and the trust they had in each other, and from a father to a son, and community, and just how this game isn't just about balls and strikes, right? Yep. It's about all those other things. And it's why we get so excited about opening day. It's why this game is not just a gimmick, right? We kept hearing reporters ask the players, is this just a gimmick for the middle of summer? And they're like, no, because this is a game, and this is a game that counts, especially this year with the Phillies and the Twins. Mm-hmm. But this game means more than like an all-star game or just your regular Thursday night game because of what this movie represents with all of that. And I think that's what was so apparent and so palpable was this wasn't just a game with a shticky stadium.
Yeah.
You really could enjoy what the game meant for the generations of fans, for people to be able to go back and tell their friends, oh my God, it was crazy. Yes, we were in corn, but then we got to play catch and we made this drive. And what do you do when you're sitting in a car for 4 hours with somebody? You're sharing stories and you're learning about them. And then you're sitting at this game and you're eating a hot dog like everybody else has before you. And that's special. So I think to me, this game and this physical game meant so much more to people. Sorry, that's my dog. She's getting excited about this too.
She's like, Field of Dreams, yes.
Like, that's it, ball. I heard ball.
Yeah, what I really loved, I don't know if it was Shelty or who, was like, like if you're in the movie and at some point it's like, really, they're about to lose the farm. They built they cleared out half of their pay because they got rid of the corn to build this thing. Like that's trust. Like you really got to love your spouse in order to do that. But what I loved was the especially the younger guys that had never seen it before or they saw it when they were younger and they're watching it like, oh, it was about his dad. It was he was the dad the whole time, like the emotions that men have with their dads in Major League Baseball and even when we were out there we saw dads throwing with their daughters. So it's I'm just saying men and their dads because Major League Baseball is for men. But when we were on the original movie set, we saw girls running the bases and we saw older, like you could tell that they were father and son, but like the son was like in his 40s and the dad was older. And you could just remember there was a couple that of them that I spoke to. And I have a feeling they were someone, Jim, because it was like a who's who out there kind of in the movie set before you went in. Like Yaboa was there. And I wouldn't know him if I fell over him at first at this, now that some of these guys are retired and they're just in regular clothes. But the Phillies fans knew who was who. But I was talking to this one guy and I said, oh, would you like to say this on camera? And he's like, oh, no, not on camera, but I'll chat with you about it. And just how much it meant to be there and just loving, he goes, I can't remember the last time I played catch. And this slows down time. I think that's what it was. It just there's nothing else to do there. If
there
you
was
bring your glove.
What was it? The farm toys museum?
Oh, yeah, that's true.
There was that. That's in Dyersville.
There was that you could do. But Tracy, I know that you and I were talking about just kind of what the road trip was for us. I remember on the ride back, we were laughing hilariously. First of all, dare we talk about where we had our breakfast and where we did the morning show?
You want me to say it?
Yeah. So, Jim, the accommodations were so hard to come by that we stayed an hour away.
Because this is farm country. This isn't like some of the Philly reporters, just to let you guys in on this, because we're all friends. Some of the Philly reporters literally asked Joe Mauer, so since you're from Minnesota, you've been here and played in ballparks like this before, right? And he's like, no, I'm from the city of St. Paul.
Yeah.
And the closest he had been was when he was on a rehab assignment in Cedar Rapids. So, like, we're not all playing with, like, cows as our outfielders. And so
it was the perception that Minnesota was all cornfields.
They were like, how's this going for you? Yeah. And so you're really, I mean, we had to drive like 30 minutes to get out of the farms because they're huge farms, huge commercial farms. So we stayed drive. in a small town in Wisconsin, Prairie du Chien, which is the second oldest city in Wisconsin, for those of you who weren't sure.
The oldest is Green Bay. We learned that as well.
Yeah. We did a lot of Googling and fact-finding on this road trip. But Dawn had a TV hit with Fox on Thursday morning to promote that we were going to be at the game and we were talking to fans.
On the morning show.
One breakfast spot, you want to go find a fun local breakfast spot in the small towns that you stay in. So everyone told us to go to this cute little cafe down by the river and the train tracks. So we were like, great, it's right downtown. It was called the Morningwood, up with the duck.
Duck.
And that's where we did our live shots. But
because it was also raining out, so we had to go inside. It's not like I could just be out on a Wisconsin street corner in the morning. And normally, Jim, you want to give the business that is saying, yes, you may do your live shot for the Fox 9 Morning Show in our establishment. I was not going to become a meme. I was not going to say it. So I just held up the menu at the end, and I said, this is where we are, and I'll leave it at that.
But I will tell you, that was really good coffee. Seriously, so good. Very good coffee. We each had like 4 cups. And we had blueberry pancakes, eggs and toast. And they had these really good red potatoes, like a fried little red potato. And they were amazing. So very, very good breakfast. And they did not guide us wrong on that breakfast spot.
No, and it
So,
was like $6.
yeah,
It was,
the eggs and
yeah.
toast were $6 and they only took cash, which was amazing. Like that's a true breakfast. It was great.
Yes. So all in all, and the weather held out, Jim. So when we got to the actual game, it was really cool because you knew I'm walking around going, oh, that you said that, Tracy. There's Denard Span, and
Yeah.
and who's that? It literally, and it wasn't like they were being walked around with security and entourage. They're just walking through the cornfields, and you're just like, oh my goodness, this is like a who's who. So that was kind of fun if you're a baseball fan. The 7-1 loss was not fun, but the opening ceremony where they had, first of all, the guys from both the Phillies and the Twins kind of come through, but when they had the Hall of Famers come through and stand, and they gave each of them their due, and to see the looks on, like Jim Codd, who's never done that before, some of these Hall of Famers who've been there, done that, and they've seen it all, to have them come through. I don't know. It was kind of, I got a little teary. I'm not going to lie.
There were 26 Hall of Famers. They said this was the largest gathering of Hall of Famers at a regular season game since I think 2008.
Yeah.
Or 18, but it's been a while. And that was in New York, right? So it was probably just like Yankees alum.
Oh, Yankees, yeah.
Yeah. And so that within itself was cool. And they and the way that they ran the production for that opening ceremony, it was really cool in person, and it translated to TV, right? Sometimes that stuff doesn't work in person, or it doesn't work on TV. It totally worked. And I don't know who at Netflix did that coordinating, but to come out in fours, they knew where to go. Everyone was lined up. It was spectacular. And like Dawn mentioned, all day it was supposed to storm. We didn't know if the game was going to get rained out. The secret production meeting that we were a part of they straight up said, this game may not happen, and
we're going to move it to Friday if it happens. Right.
And we were like, we have to go back to the Twin Cities. And so all day, I was checking that radar every hour, right? And we were like, it's moving south. It's clearing up. And then it was perfectly fine. Yeah. And the game came in and there was no rain. We had like 3 little sprinkles at 3:00 for batting practice, and that was it. And who's going to complain, right? And so that was magical, and that was special. And every volunteer that was there was like, do you guys want your picture taken? Hey, can we help you guys with this? Welcome. What do you need? How do we help? Can we shake some video for you? That was so cool too. And I think just everybody being all in and being excited about being there was special. The mascots were both there. We were over by the Philly Fanatic. That was a thrill. I love a mascot. Love a mascot. So the Fanatic was awesome. Giving out, they were giving out T-shirts and throwing out stuff. And it was such a spectacular event to take part of. There were fireworks at the end of the game. Yeah. That was cool.
And I have to give you your props for your props.
Thank you.
Tracy doesn't matter now that you are, I call you the Grand Poobah of Grand Casino Arena. Is that okay to call you that?
Sure. Yeah. It's the Director of Communications and Marketing. Yes. Grand Poobah.
I call the Grand Poobah. But so, Jim, Tracy not only brought us ears of corn for our photo ops and for our live shots. We at a Casey's, is that
we were at a Casey's.
Yeah, because not Buc-ee's there, it's Casey's. They had these squish toys, I guess they're fidget toys, that were sticks of butter.
Yeah. The very coveted butter squishies, which are hard to come by in Minnesota. My friends' kids have had trouble finding them. We found one. We paid $6 for it.
Yeah, I didn't know it was a thing. Tracy knew it was a thing.
Yeah,
I was
we were like, oh
butter?
my God, this is funny. So I brought ears of corn because I knew it would be funny for photos, and I didn't want to take the corn from the field. It's not worth getting arrested over, So we brought the corn, and I had all these grand ideas of us like clipping a mic to the corn, and we had just used it for photo props when we were there, which turned out great.
Yeah.
And then we had the stick of butter. Why wouldn't we?
Why wouldn't the best thing, Jim, was, you know how sometimes when you're covering an event, you think like, should we go this way? Can we go this way? Or can we do that? They were calling us by our own names, like by the end. There was like this one guy, Diego. Don, Tracy, how you doing? We're like, Diego. People are like, oh, do you work here? We're like, no. They let us do whatever we wanted. We're like, this seems like, all right, the other shoe's going to drop.
Credentials. We weren't like,
I know, but still.
We weren't like, hey, let's go on the field. That could be cool. We had credentials. Thank you, Fox and MLB. But I mean, we were, before stuff was open, they were giving us access. We were bopping around. And people were just helpful too. Sorry, stepping over here. We're going to go that way. It was delightful. Dawn did several of her live shots from in the field of corn and then would walk out of the corn, which was great television. But that's the stuff
produced by
right?
Tracy Perlman, though.
Yeah. So when I was at WCCO, I did a lot of live shots like this. I did a lot of baseball. And so I was kind of in my element when it came to crazy ideas. And anytime I'd be like, let's shoot that again. I've got an idea. And then Dawn would just roll with it. So we got along great. And for anyone who's wondering, Dawn is a great roommate and road trip driver. So 10 out of 10.
Gummy bears. Gummy bears are a must.
Yes.
I don't snore, so that is good. On a plane, I'm a gaper. Well, I'm working on that. Yeah. I don't drool. But so you just have to be easygoing, go with the flow, and bring snacks. I mean, I'm really easy to get along with. Oh, I got gummy bears. Okay, okay, great.
We did. We brought veggies for the road. I don't know what everyone's road trip foods are. We brought gummy bears, hummus, veggies, granola bars. Yeah.
Not kale though. You didn't go crazy, right?
No, we put peppers and carrots.
I did bring peppers, which I didn't eat. We didn't eat. We ate the gummy bears instead.
You get the vitamins by osmosis.
Yeah. What's that?
You get the vitamins by osmosis.
Yeah.
These are in the same car.
Yes.
Correct. So I will say, and I said this on the way there, and I wonder if anyone listening feels the same way, but me being originally from Massachusetts, and I've been out here in the Midwest for quite some time now, I have never met a person from Iowa that I don't like. That's a jerk. I've never met a jerk from Iowa at all.
And we spent quite a bit of time trying to come up with the list of people from Iowa that we know, and none of them were jerks.
None. And we did not find a jerk in Iowa.
No.
Like, we're like, oh, come on. This is the Field of Dreams game. Somebody's going to lose their cool. Someone's going to be kind of like, No. Like, they grow them different, like the corn in Iowa. Yeah. I don't know. There's not one jerk in Iowa. I can tell. There's jerks in Massachusetts. I've lived in Massachusetts, San Diego, Chicago, Milwaukee. Where else have I lived? I've lived in a lot of places. There's at least one or two jerks there. Not anyone have I ever met from Iowa who's a jerk. Or Scotland. Iowa and Scotland. Those are the two. I've never met jerks from either one of those places. Interesting. But
one of the
your
things
dog is not happy, Tracy.
She is not, and I'm really sorry. It's because we're up here, and Dawn is her new favorite person. We went for a nice long walk, and now I know. I'm sorry, you guys. She's really
dogs are well. It's a dog-friendly network, so it's okay.
Thank you.
It is dog-friendly.
Yes, it is. And it's her birthday, so she's had plenty of treats, so she's probably all hyped up from the pup cups. I was going to say, one thing I loved on our drive, which is what I think makes a road trip fun, was we talked about what are those like bucket list trips that you do want to take, right? And whether it's, I want to skydive or I want to do something, snorkel in Australia at the Great Barrier Reef. But I think so often these big games and so many bucket list items revolve around sports because they're so communal. So I'm wondering, like, what are those things for you guys that you would like to do at some point?
You go first, Jim.
Well, I was lucky to be able to cover almost everything I ever wanted to cover. But the only thing I didn't get to do that I really wanted to do and that I still want to do is British Open golf.
Oh,
Mm.
These,
wow.
you know,
Yeah.
I covered all the majors and went to the Masters a lot and got to know a lot of golf writers, and they said that British Open is just different. Fans
Mm.
are just, knowledgeable and kind of laid back, and it's often played at a place that the public can play, and the golf culture in the UK is just different. It's just kind of it's a primary social driver. People, it's just what people go out and do every day. They walk, they have a caddy or they carry their clubs, and they just do it as a daily routine. It's not like a kind of a big event. And so I that's the one thing I didn't do that I would like to do. Um, so many other things I got to do. I was very lucky. That's the one thing that jumps out at me in terms of sports.
Yeah.
Have you been to St. Andrews at all? Have you ever
I've
been
not.
out there? That I crossed off my bucket list last year after the Vikings played in Dublin. I took a
Mhm.
little hop, skip, and a jump over to Scotland. Did not go. I didn't for some reason. I don't know if they were having a practice there or something like that because there's a lot of guys. This was right after the Ryder Cup, so some of the golfers had come back and then were having some rounds. But I didn't go over the bridge on 18, so I didn't get that iconic picture. But St. Andrews is really cool. But this past summer, that's what I'm saying. I was lucky enough to get two in one summer. It was also the French Open.
Mm.
That's always been on my list to see the clay, just to be out there and to do all that. So, but what's also on my list, and here's the thing: some people are poo-pooing the Field of Dreams for me too. People poo-pooed the Kentucky Derby because they're like, "Oh, it's horrible in the infield. The mint julep sucks." And da da da. So you know what? I'm like going la 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 la. I can't hear you because people were telling me like, "Oh, Field of Dreams gonna be horrible. You have to drive 4 hours. You're gonna park here. It's gonna be miserable." It was fantastic. The French Open was amazing. So I'm thinking if I ever get to the Derby, I'm gonna have the most amazing hat or fascinator. I don't care if my drink sucks, but I'm there. Just to say I used to want to do the running of the bulls. I do not want. I used to want to do that when I was young and stupid. Wanted to jump out of planes and stuff like that. I'm not saying people who jump out of planes are stupid, but I was young and stupid, saying I want to run with the bulls. And yeah, no, I don't want to do that anymore.
It's a lot of physical exertion.
Yeah, and I'm like, oh no, like
And
that
you could
person just
die.
got gore, and you could die. So
There is that
there's that. But
little detail.
So,
Yeah. So
I don't know. Wimbledon is next on my list, hopefully as a sporting event. And,
I got
and
to go, I got to go to
Derby.
Wimbledon during the London Olympics, so I haven't seen a Wimbledon, but I've got to go
You've
to
been there.
the site and watch some tennis there, and that was pretty cool.
How about you,
yeah.
Trace?
So I would love to go to the Masters. I love all the pomp and
Nice.
circumstance with that. I love a golf tournament. Like I'm a golfer. I love to just sit on a hole and watch everybody come in and come through. And then I
Mhm.
start like judging, like, oh, they should have really hit the ball over that way. Like I know what I'm doing. I also, so I went to the University of Kansas, and I'm a Jayhawk. I would love to go to a Final Four. I have not been. I have been in Lawrence when they won the 2008 championship, but that was fun. So I was living in Kansas City at the time. I drove back to campus to watch that, but I would love to be at that game itself. And then I'd love to go to I think a Winter Olympics more than a
Really?
summer. But I think that's because I like the winter games a little better. I like to watch those a little more. They're things I understand a bit better.
Yeah.
Well, the Winter Olympics it definitely is much more communal.
Mhm.
They tend to be well, I would say they tend to be in smaller footprints, but then again, sometimes you cover Winter Olympics and the mountains are an hour or two
Right.
away from the rest of the venues, but it is more of a community feel. People are walking around with their heavy stuff on, which means they have to go inside to the bar or to the America House or Dutch House, whatever, to drink beer. It the Winter Olympics feel cooler, not literally, but
Yeah.
perceptually. And I like the Summer Olympics more for the events, but
Yeah.
you're outside, you're sweating your rear end off because it's hot, and it doesn't feel quite. It feels more like a Super Bowl. It's kind of a little over commercialized. Where the Winter Olympics feels a little more quaint. Is the word I was looking for. Winter
Yeah.
Olympics are more quaint,
Yeah, and this
and
year,
you go to a Final Four. If
Yeah.
you can go to a Final Four in New Orleans, that is perfect.
say less. That's like one of my favorite cities.
My wife and I took my wife down there for it was either Final Four or whatever, a regional final or something, and New Orleans just knows how to do that
Yeah.
stuff. I mean, it's so good at everything. And you can't the food. There are just 85 million good restaurants. Atmosphere is incredible. Bars are open late, but we're walking through a park, like cutting from our hotel to the arena. I think walking through a park on so this is probably Sunday between the day off between games. And there's Kiss on a bandstand doing a free concert.
Yeah.
That didn't happen in
Really?
the series.
It just
New Orleans just knows how to do it.
Yeah, they look fun, and I loved when the Twin Cities hosted, when Minneapolis hosted the Final Four, and the college, I think because everybody can get involved whether or not you have a school when it comes to Final Four, and especially now with more people following the women's teams, like it's just fun. You can cheer for anybody, right? Your allegiance changes every game, and so it's easy to get into. It's a low stakes entry point, but then to be cheering for a school that you spent a lot of time and a lot of money at, I think just makes it sweeter. And they live and die for basketball at KU. So,
yeah. And Allen Fieldhouse is probably the best college basketball venue I ever went to.
Yeah, it's an amazing. You don't realize how great it is until you leave. And then I went to a game, I don't know, somewhere here in the Twin Cities, and was like, "Where's the student section? Where? Who's cheering?" And then, it's just a different game day experience. So
I would say, now that you're saying all that, I would like the only other thing, and I don't like calling it a bucket list because I call it my live list. I have live lists of trips and also events. I would love to go to a BC Notre Dame football game at Notre Dame. And that's on my list to always go, hoping it will align with a Vikings bye week. Yeah. And it has yet to do so. So one day, and because not at BC, I've been to Boston, being a BC grad, I've been there, I've seen them play Notre Dame. But I even though when I was in Chicago, we covered Notre Dame when Willingham was the coach, so we're going back a minute. I only went to practices and stuff like that, and then on Saturdays I had anchors, so I had never been there for an actual game. So, little known fact, that movie Rudy was taped at a BC Notre Dame game. They just blurred out the BC fans and put, I don't know who in the movies, LSU or someone that they play, but it was filmed at a BC Notre Dame game. So, because BC people are crazy and in a good way. And BC Notre Dame, with their quote unquote, I do it with air quotes, you can't see it because this is only audio, but arch rivals. Not the same par. Hopefully BC's football will go back up, but when the movie was made, they would just pack the stands. It's like a rite of passage for people to go, being the rivals. So, but I don't know how you both see it. Not to be defeatist, this is why I call it the live list, but somebody put it in reality form for me. Somebody said, in life, if you're lucky, you get 80 summers. Mm-hmm. And that kind of, I'm like, you might get more. But so I had a friend of mine, say like, yeah, there's like half of that for me. I got like 40 summers. And I was like, oh, come on, don't be defeatist. Just I'm just being realistic. If life is good, I have 40 summers, and and so it really has inspired me over the past couple of years, I would say last 5 years, to plan something, to look forward to it. So I don't know if people are listening, if this inspires you. And I'm not saying we lucked out because we got press passes and we basically worked, so we can do that.
They were long days. We were having
long
fun,
days.
They were long days. Yeah.
But I know that people like, oh, well, if it's really something you want to do, you can save up the money or you can find a way to go. If you don't want to go to Super Bowl, go to it like where it's warm out in San Diego and be part of those free parties around, just being the atmosphere.
Sign up to volunteer.
Yeah.
At World Juniors, we did it. Minnesota Sports and Events has all those big events all the time that are coming. The transplant games are coming, I think, next summer. And you can volunteer, and then you get to go, and you get to be a part of that experience. And,
Yes.
it's a great way to have that unique perspective of the event and to get access. And to see things and to be a part of it and to really represent what makes this place so great to live and what you love about it. You get to be that ambassador. And it's a great opportunity, and it's a great way to take part.
Well, Tracy, I had a blast. I rarely buy T-shirts and hats of places I go to. I didn't even buy a French Open T-shirt. I didn't even buy a French Open hat. I think I bought a $10 hat in the street of Paris,
It
but
was
I
raining.
bought
That's
both.
why I bought my hat.
Yeah.
It was needed.
Yeah.
From a higher.
But I feel like when I came up, I'm like, that was awesome. So if anyone's listening and they're a baseball fan, you don't have to wait. Next year, it's the Red Sox. I forget who they're playing, but they're doing it again. Major League Baseball is doing it again next summer. But even when it's open, I think when there's not a game, I think it's free, if I'm recalling it correct.
Yes.
You can just go there.
Show up and you just go, and you can park on the property. On Saturdays, they do a whole hour and a half game with the ghost players, open to families, age appropriate. They make jokes. They let the kids play. You can run around and enjoy it. I believe the house is on Airbnb or Vrbo. You can rent the house if you want.
I didn't know that.
I've been hearing people talk about it. So
wow.
Just you can go. If you're going to be in the area, go see it.
I enjoy it. And the ghost players, we didn't really talk enough about them. We chatted with them. One, I said, is this Clueless Joe? Because that's what his friend was calling him. Not shoeless, but clueless. I mean, they're funny. They're engaging. They're kind. But their uniforms are cool. You really feel like, oh my gosh, it's the White Sox from all those years ago. So it's just.
Some of them were movie extras.
Wonderful. Yes, that's right.
Yeah.
That's right. We were waiting for Kevin Costner to chop her in, Jim. It did not happen.
I thought for sure, because they kept saying he's going to take part in the pregame somehow. Yeah. And they hadn't announced who was singing the national anthem. So I was like, Dawn, it's got to be Kevin Costner. He's in a band. He could totally do this. He'll just dutton it in on a chopper and then do something cool, come down on a ladder. And then, it was a recording country artist who sang the national anthem. But
so that was the only thing. Yeah. There was no Kevin Costner and there was no Twins victory. But you know what? We're only finding that out now. We're only discussing the disappointment of that now. But it's nothing compared to the awesome time. So, Tracy, thank you so much. Jim, you have to go. You have to go, being a baseball
Take the road trip. Take the trip.
Well, now I have to.
Yeah. Take the road less traveled because there's many of them.
Beautiful.
We found them all. All right, Tracy, thank you so much. And we'll have to come up with our next road trip.
I know. Oh.
Gummy bears and hummus, not together.
Maybe a hockey game, a Canadian hockey game.
Oh, that could be something. Yeah. I've never been to Vancouver.
Neither have I.
Vancouver's beautiful.
Vancouver.
Vancouver is one of the great cities in North America.
There we go. Vancouver it is. Notice, no offense to Winnipeg, but I've been to Toronto, I've been to Montreal, Calgary. Winnipeg and Calgary, they just don't seem palatable to me in the winter. I like
Toronto a lot, but Vancouver's got more going on.
Yes. All right, Vancouver, we're coming for you. You're on our live list.